Hi, everyone. I am coming to you live once again from Miami, Florida, and today's topic is self-mastery. So I feel like self-mastery is something that a lot of people are talking about. It's become kind of a buzzword in many different communities, which I think is really cool because it is true that the idea of self-mastery is absolutely multidimensional. It can come from so many different perspectives and so many different angles because we ourselves are multidimensional, and therefore, in order to master ourselves, we have to be able to look at ourselves from many different lenses, many different angles, and even, ideally objectively. So when we think about self-mastery, I would say that the ultimate goal of self-mastery is to be able to be in 0 point reality. What that means is literally just completely present in this moment. And what that requires is being able to feel good in your body. It requires to be able to disconnect from your mind. It requires to be able to master your need for grabbing for things outside of yourself or external attachment, so to speak. And I think the truth of the matter is that most people cannot be fully present. And it takes a true mastered person to be fully present, and furthermore, fully present when they're with other people, because we are also energetically connected to one another, that usually when we come together, we are in some way sort of intermingling ourselves, and therefore on some level energetically sort of losing a little bit of sovereignty to mesh with this other energy that we are now sort of contractually connected to in this moment and in this conversation, so to speak. So, self-mastery says I maintain the totality of my experience and I maintain my highest vibrational experience at any moment, no matter what's happening and no matter who's around. Now, of course, external circumstances happen. We are human. We absolutely go through human experiences that sometimes facilitate the heightening of our vibration and other times takes away from our vibration. We go through challenges, we go through difficulties. So of course, the level of vibration that you can maintain is going to be subjective to whatever you're experiencing in that moment. And that's totally normal. But I think the truly mastered person is the one who's sort of, reverberates maybe a little higher and then a little lower, but their baseline is pretty high and they maintain their baseline pretty completely. So that no matter what's happening, even when they're going through the most difficult of challenges, their low point is probably still higher than most, because they have learned how to maintain their experience so that they don't have to kind of match the energetics of what's happening, but they can keep their inner reality at a space where they still feel somewhat okay. They can still sort of be clear-minded and available to reality as it's happening versus through the lens or the storyline of fear or whatever else might be coming up in moments of difficulty. So there's a lot of layers to it, right? It's really very much so mind, body, soul, and then many other layers, on top of that. And this to me is why meditation is such a key to all of this. It's such a center point to mastering yourself, because the mind is really the one thing, primarily, really ultimately the one thing that keeps us from the present moment, right? The mind is the only thing that's ever not here now. It can be in the future, it can be in the past, it can be avoiding it ourselves, it can be anywhere but here. And the mind is really good for that, right? And that's what makes the mind so masterful. But most people live in their mind so much so that they're actually not in reality. So to me, the starting point for self-mastery really begins with our minds. Now, meditation, obviously, I'm a huge advocate for meditation. I'm a meditation teacher. I have been meditating myself for many, many years. It has absolutely shifted my whole entire reality, texture, life in every capacity. Although I will also say, of course, there's the integration of that work too, right? That you can also and need to also be able to be in reality from that sort of meditative space wherein you are still at peace and present with yourself, but also present with reality. So yes, stillness practices, I really do believe are key in training your mind to be present, to not avoid your self-experience, to in fact go into your self-experience. But a major component of that is also real-time practice of, this is happening, I'm feeling this way, can I maintain that sort of inner composure while life gets crazy? So it's all of the things, right? It's all of the things. But what it comes down to is, can I be fully present in this moment, and then in this moment, and then in this moment, right? That you're constantly checking yourself to your availability to reality. Because the other piece of it is that, yes, we're here and this is happening, but me in this reality, and if somebody were sitting next to me in the same reality, and then 30 minutes later, you asked us both what that reality was like, we would give two totally different accounts, right? And so that is to say that reality in and of itself is the thing, right? It is what is now. So right now you can see my background, you can see in this reality, this is what's happening. If we look just purely objectively, it's pretty clear, what's happening and what is reality. But we live in these human experiences where we have this unique consciousness that we can filter and decipher reality and decode reality in all of the ways that we do that. Now we're doing that, whether we're conscious of that or not. So I would say that an awakened person, a conscious person would say, yes, in this moment, I can look in my background and say, there's the tree here. And then an awakened person may sort of start to kind of decode their reality, right? They might be able to look a little deeper into the context of reality and how things are shifting and available to their understanding, and a sense of deeper awareness, where the unconscious person is just kind of like, at a loss and sort of in the winds of reality as it is. And also though simultaneously kind of making up a story without necessarily realizing that about what's happening, which is why in 30 minutes from now, if myself and the person sitting next to me who is not there, were to recount our version of this reality right here, we would give different versions, right? I might say, well, the plant, I felt like needed some water, and I could feel the energy of the plant telling me that it needed water. And then also, I noticed that there was 2:11 on the clock, and that to me says that I'm in alignment with where I'm at, right? So I'm kind of giving the deeper connection, the deeper messages of the same reality. And the other person might say, well, I was annoyed by the music bumping in the levels lower than me, or I could hear the children screaming from the pool, and that was annoying me, right? They might be bothered or rubbed by the external factors that are also simultaneously present. So I say that to say, to me, the master is the one who is most available to reality as it accurately is happening. And that's so key, because the truth is, we do see reality from our own lens. We see reality, and oftentimes, unfortunately, from the lens of our, say, trauma or negative experiences, or, the stuff that's kind of present in our reality that's kind of knocking on our door saying, hey, can you look at me? Because when you get through me or master this part of yourself, you'll be able to be more present. And so until you master that part of yourself, you won't be able to be as present, because it's just sitting here knocking at your door. And anytime you have even a moment of stillness, it starts knocking. And we notice that even in our physical bodies, right? If you just take a moment and sit in stillness and just take a breath and close your eyes, sometimes you'll feel a little annoyance in your body, a little edge of discomfort, maybe even something that you think might be sort of wrong with you, or something you need to get checked out, so to speak. And I put those in parentheses because I truly believe that illness is only information in the body trying to help the body become more in its own power. But that's a conversation for another day. But it is true that if you sit in stillness, oftentimes the body will start informing you about things. Now, sometimes that's good, right? Sometimes you actually just feel like the immense just joy and ecstasy of being able to be so fully present in your reality and in this moment where all is actually well. And it's just a joy to be alive, and that the true experience of aliveness is like to feel the thriving nature of reality. That's one way it might come forward. Or maybe you take a moment in stillness and you feel the little ping of a pain here, or you sort of feel even the soreness of your workout from earlier, or whatever ways that your body just has that kind of silent hum of communication that you don't necessarily hear until you kind of quiet the mind and come into yourself. So all of that, though, is the pathway, the journey through self-mastery. You have to go ultimately through yourself. And this is why I talk so often about going through yourself. This is exactly what I mean, because your self-experience has so much rich information for you to become more of yourself. And instead of diving into it and being like, oh, I love that my body is informing me that I have this going on. What is it? What's the deeper message here? How do I heal this and therefore reclaim more of who I am? Instead of that, most people are just like, oh, a little ping, that's annoying. Let me have a drink, or even working out sometimes, or whatever, methods of escape that people take, whatever your method is. We all have our little escape, mechanisms. So I get it. I'll even use meditation at times as an escape. I'll be completely honest. But the The work then is to go through the discomfort. And I think that's where the sort of fire of self-mastery that we talk about a lot is really that it's quite uncomfortable at times, physically, mentally, emotionally, because the other piece is sometimes you sit in stillness and maybe it's not your physical body talking to you, it's your emotional body talking to you. Maybe there is an emotional trauma that you have not faced or not sat with that's bled into many different areas of your life that's ready to come up and ready to be healed, but it's not something you necessarily like to sit and review. And so the moment you sit in silence, you start to feel that grief, or you start to feel that anger, or you start to feel that whatever else, other uncomfortable emotion that's like, hey, I'm inside of you. I'm ready to come out. I'm ready to be cleared out, but you have to do the work, meaning you have to go into the emotion in order to clear it out, in order to reclaim that part of you that's been clouded by this thing that lives inside of you. And again, a lot of people just aren't doing that work. This is the framework of doing the inner work. It's sitting with the experiences that come up, especially in meditation or in stillness, because the mind is a master at overriding all of this that's happening all the time. And then confirming that, yeah, we're good because we worked 12 hours today. So we had a good day, but all you did was just avoid this one piece in yourself that's asking to be unlocked so that you can become more of yourself. Not all the time, but oftentimes we're doing a lot of avoiding in the name of like achievement or working hard or grind mode or whatever it is. Like maybe we should just be resting a little bit more. Maybe we should be more with ourselves. In fact, I would argue that rest itself is a major piece of self-mastery. You know, as someone who does energy work, I can say absolutely, I have to have my rest days. And if I don't, they will take themselves for me. You know what I mean? Like if I don't schedule in my rest days, there will be days that I wake up and I'm just kind of like energy hangover from, you know, doing one-on-one work or leading classes or groups or whatever it is. And my body's like, and today you're going to sit down and do nothing. And, you know, I might have to clear my schedule a little bit to make space for that. But rest is absolutely a key. In fact, the true master is the one who knows how and when to rest, because the body has to rest. The mind, the spirit, the soul all have to rest in order to exist in their most vibrant and fullest expression. You have to have the yin and yang on, you know, the fire and the rest all happening simultaneous. And also, though, it's true that sometimes in the rest days, you have to go through the kind of the gunk, right? Like when I go through what I'm calling an energy hangover, which is an experience that I feel after working big energy. Say, you know, I run a retreat. Oftentimes, a couple of days later, I just need time and space to like not talk to anybody because I just feel sort of like stretched out and exhausted energetically. So I'll give myself that space, right? It's totally normal. And also, I know that after those couple of, you know, day or two, depending on what I need, I'll actually be more in my power, because it's like I've brought major power forward, and then I've given it a couple of days to kind of settle and integrate, but it's actually brought me to another level of myself. So the rest days actually bump you up from your baseline, but you have to honor them and you have to take them. So all of this, right? And this is just like one barely scratching the surface understanding of what self-mastery really is. But if you want to start thinking about it, you want to start really truly practicing it, I would challenge you to always constantly come back and whenever you remember, because the mind will forget within seconds of me even saying this, to come back to now. What is actually happening in this moment? Okay, can I be, you know, at peace and at ease with whatever is here? Can I be at peace and at ease with myself? If not, what communication is happening in my body? What's happening in my mind? Where is my mind going? How is my mind filtering? It's like you're an existential detective of your human experience. That's literally kind of what's happening. In fact, in many of my meditation classes, I'll teach the practice of asking yourself, your mind, who is the one aware of this thought? Who is the one aware of this thought? And what that does is it brings you back to that kind of higher awareness that is actually who you are, the one sort of aware of your own human experience, because we are both simultaneously all the time, the human experience itself and the one who is aware of it. And the one who is aware of it is a lot less stressed. I can promise you that. In fact, I think self-mastery is sort of finding that perfect midpoint between like, I'm in my 3D human experience. I'm absolutely fully in my body, embodied. And also simultaneously, I'm still eternally connected to the higher version of myself. That's like, this is all kind of a divine play and we are all kind of divine role playing. And so it's not that serious, albeit it is, but it's not, but it is, but it's really not, you know? So there's this kind of slow, cute tug of war that's happening that anytime you drop back into like, who is the one aware of this thought? Okay, boom, you're like in the awareness. And there's just like ease there, right? Like the higher self knows ease, it knows flow, it knows alignment. It's sort of like the Buddha saying that once you kind of find the true reality of it all, you're just going to tip your head up to the sky and laugh. Like that's literally what he's talking about, is once you realize that this human experience is very much like a role player of what's really happening in the astrals and celestial, and that you are not, absolutely not just this body, but something significantly more that I could not even conceptualize in this moment. It's just almost funny, right? It's like the ultimate cosmic joke that we are both this divine human experience and also the one who is aware of it, that realizes that this divine human experience is very much just, a speck of sand on the beach of endlessness. So there's so much more I could say about self-mastery, but if you are really, committed to the path and you're really trying to take your next steps into self-mastery, obviously I'm going to always advocate for meditation, stillness practices, 5 minutes a day. I say that all the time, but I'll say it again because I know it's so important. It has been so important for me and those who I work with to sit in stillness, sit with themselves, sit with their thoughts. You will probably just sit and think for 5 minutes, but at least you have started to cultivate the awareness of, okay, I'm sitting and thinking for 5 minutes. And wow, my mind actually runs really fast and all the time. Even when I think that I can find peace, you may not find peace for a little while, right? You got to kind of work some of that out and slow some of that down and disconnect from the identification with thought in order to even be with yourself. That's a major, major first step of self-mastery. So meditation, obviously 100%, but also full integration of the practice into each now moment. So you're off doing something, whether you're in the grocery store, or you're at a kava bar. I went to a kava bar the other day, shout out to Matt, who I met at the kava bar, and it was absolutely amazing. So whether you're at the grocery or the kava bar or getting your oil changed, or even amidst a crisis, can you be fully submerged in the moment in such a way that you're not filtering it through the storyline of what your mind wants it to be, or the storyline of your trauma, or the flaring up of your triggers, and instead just here-ness, total, complete, 0-point reality here-ness. And again, that question of like, who is the one aware of this experience? Who is the one aware of these thoughts? That really helps you reconnect to the higher part of you that knows that your thoughts are very minimal, pretty insignificant part of your actual reality and who you actually are. And that even the pains in the body and the discomfort that you feel in your emotionality is a very much a temporary experience of the endless nature of who you actually are. And so it helps a lot. It helps a lot to kind of take off the seriousness of all of it by reconnecting to who you actually are, to attuning to and aligning to the highest vibrational experience that's possible, which is your higher self, which is your highest awareness. So I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you that as a starting point. I want to dive deeper into self-mastery a lot more. And obviously it's a pillar of my channel, something I talk about a lot. I work one-on-one with people in self-mastery sessions where we dive deep into this and fine tune each of your realities in, facilitating these practices and how you can do it, specific to your journey. But also, it's really ultimately the willingness. It is the willingness to be in the discomfort, to go into the discomfort. Let the discomfort and uncomfort of a moment be your best teacher. Let the mirrors that face back to you, that help you see yourself, that maybe the parts of you don't always want to see, be the best teacher, right? It's all teaching you. It's all polishing you. It's all sharpening you. It is all an opportunity to master yourself. And so the awakened person is the one who says, boom, I'm in for that ride. And I'm willing to be uncomfortable. I'm willing to sit in the fire. I'm willing to look into every single mirror, even the ones I don't want to see, to know who I am, to reclaim my sovereignty, and to live out this lifetime in the fullest vibrational experience I can possibly do. And in doing so, you literally just feel good, right? That's the fundamental practice of all of it, is feeling good. What is the pathway to feeling good? It's self-mastery. Because when you can be, I want to say empty, and that's kind of the word that it is. It's sort of, emotionally and discomfort, out of discomfort, out of all of it. You've emptied yourself of all of the communication that your body's trying to tell you how to become more of yourself. And so therefore you are yourself. It's the best feeling ever. Just the fullness of aliveness and just being able to sit present and sip a tea or a kava or whatever else you're doing in the moment and feeling the joy of life experience. That's like the ultimate. And when you do that, you literally illuminate. Your spirit illuminates when it can be fully present and feel the full experience of your humanity. It feels amazing to you. And then you literally light up your room, you light up your spaces, you bring that, you invite that energy into the lives of others around you, and 7 degrees of separation interconnected to you. So it's for you, but really it's for everybody, even in your current reality. And so they say 7 generations past and 7 generations to come. So you're the centerpiece of that. And you are the one right now who has the opportunity to make the change. You are the one right now who has the opportunity to say, I'm going to do this different for 7 generations of people who came before me, and for 7 generations of my lineage to come. And also for myself and every single person that exists within 7 degrees of separation in this current reality right now. And you can do that, but you have to be willing. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to get it wrong, so to speak, because the losses and the failures teach you the most about alignment and how to step into more of yourself. You have to be willing to be seen and heard and full volume and make other people uncomfortable in your density. You have to just be willing. Self-mastery is all about willingness. And so when you're willing to just be yourself, to traverse into the depths of who you actually are, to figure out what that even means, you bring everybody up with you. You bring everybody up with you. So this is my challenge to you, to practice moment-to-moment awareness, to practice being so submerged in reality that nothing can miss you, right? That no message, even a little butterfly passing by that's maybe meant to be a message to say life is beautiful, and you're too busy in your thoughts thinking about the noise from the children at the pool that you missed the butterfly, be available to all of it. Be available to all of it. Let your multidimensional senses be open to all of it, so you can receive not only the uncomfortable information that your body or emotionality may be communicating, but also the absolutely magical information that's also passing through your reality. At any point, you just are willing to open your eye. Okay? Okay. I'm going to leave it there. Love you guys. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Obviously, anytime you like, it helps me out a lot. If you're not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. All the things really helps me grow my channel. So thank you all for being here with me, and I will tap in with you next time. Much love, everyone.